Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking Packers, Cardinals. Thursday Night Football just ended. Packers win 24-21 after a late interception there by Kyler Murray in the end zone, which really wasn't Kyler's fault. That was just strange. I don't know what happened. I don't know what AJ Green was doing. I mean, we don't know. Obviously something got mixed up on the play call, but strange. He doesn't turn around, doesn't look. Interception. Crazy.
Yeah. It was a great ending. I mean, not what everyone was hoping for, like Arizona fans, but I mean, man, we've gotten some duds as far as Thursday night games. This one was wonderful, and two teams that will obviously be in playoff contention, if not make a deep run. So this was really, really fun to watch. Arizona pretty much making a goal line stand, coming back. And Green Bay did it without Davante Adams too. So this is going to be very interesting to see if these teams match up again, because they do match up really, really well against one another. And I think everyone probably thought it was going to be a little more high scoring,
right?
But Green Bay was able to hold Arizona in check. Yeah,
and this one you would have thought it would have been picking Packers, Cardinals. It just wasn't. But Packers, you said without Davante Adams, but not just without Davante Adams. No Allen Lazard. MBS wasn't able to come back. So it was Randall Cobb, Juwan Winfrey, who they just pulled up. Not much going on there. This shows Amari Rodgers was a little name that was in the early preseason. Yeah, that guy's nothing. That's for sure. This would have been one time he could have done something. Same with St. Brown. St. Brown can't do anything in a game like this either. So nothing going, but Green Bay. So they get the win there. Rodgers, not like the numbers don't look great. He was like at one point at halftime, it was like 10 for 21 actually at halftime, which is not Aaron Rodgers like, but he ends up 22 of 37. That part's not great, but 184 yards. That part's not great, but 2 touchdowns. There you go. That saves it a little bit. It was not a great fantasy day though for him. It really wasn't. It was very mediocre. But hey, they win. On the ground, it's very interesting how AJ Dillon just continues to have a pretty big role here overall. I mean, he had the game against Washington, he didn't do much, but he's had double-digit carries now in 3 of the last 5 games. And this is an odd one, but down the stretch, it was Aaron Jones again, right? Like when it matters, I guess. But 16 carries for Dillon, 78 yards. Jones at 15 for 59. A touchdown for Jones. Almost had the second one. It got called back. But Jones is the only one of the two that's involved in the passing game. There's the big difference between them. Jones 7 for 51. But AJ Dillon's not going away. It's taken away some of that Aaron Jones rushing, but I don't think that's going to change.
No, I don't either. And really, the game plan here was spot on by Green Bay. I mean, they knew they didn't have it down the field, so they did a bunch of these smaller passes, and they just moved the chains every time. I was very impressed by them. And you think that, Adams comes back and they get a few more guys that can stretch the field a little bit, and they're going to be a really dangerous team. But yeah, I was very intrigued by the AJ Dillon because he looked really good. He actually looked like he was more productive per run. I do think that Aaron Jones is definitely a better back overall, but AJ Dillon is slowly building a case for why you're going to keep using him. And on the ground, especially another pound him out back. He's going to take a lot of the carries away from Aaron Jones, but I think that's probably enough for both of them, especially until they get their passing game kind of moving in the right direction again.
Yep, Aaron Jones still easy top 10 back right now.
Yeah.
And then Cobb scored 2 touchdowns, only 3 catches for 15 yards, but 2 touchdowns.
And they went at him like a third time too.
He was the one who was the target on the 4th down. So looking for a third. But all right, what about the Cardinals side of things? Kyler Murray had a very, very poor day here, especially fantasy wise. 22 of 33, 274 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, 21 yards on the ground. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, not good. They played a good team, and this is what happens. It's frustrating for Murray owners that have been, having good performances all year. This one was not that. What do you say? Just don't worry about it. He's still your quarterback next week, and go from there.
One game,
on the ground there. So Chase Edmonds 7 carries, 30 yards, a touchdown. James Conner doesn't do much but score touchdowns, but he scores touchdowns.
Yeah, the guy does. I mean, yeah, once again, we have to look back at what he's been doing because he only had 5 carries today for 22 yards
That,
with 2 touchdowns. What do you have that pulled up right now?
yeah, so that was a lot less than normal. He's had double digit carries in all but one game before today. And that game was week 2 where he had 8, but he's had double digit carries all those other games. Today was a lot less, but he's now up to 8 touchdown runs. And actually, it's all in the last 6 games. The first 2 games, he didn't get a touchdown. Now in the last 6 games, he has 8 touchdowns. And
yeah,
he's their goal line back.
They use him around the red zone, and he does very, very well. And Chase Edmonds looked really good in this game. Even though they didn't use him as much as I wish they did, because when they were able to throw it to him, he looked really good, scampering away from people. He looks like the more explosive back, but they definitely have their lanes they stay in. James Conner is more of a north-south runner. He does have some wiggle to him. Don't get me wrong. He's very, very savvy when it comes to picking out the correct hole, especially when you're near the goal line. And Chase Edmonds is kind of the, switch him in and get some yardage and kind of change of pace back. I don't think that and also they it doesn't feel like they're ever going to be run heavy if you take away Kyler, right? If you don't consider him a rusher, because he himself had 6 rushes for 21 yards. It was too bad. Kyler Murray had a poor game, but he came alive in that last quarter, and that could have easily been 1 touchdown and 1 interception, or it could have changed the dynamic of it. Yep. But man, they do use everyone. He missed Christian Kirk in the middle of the field, and I think it was like the end of the 3rd quarter.
Well, then Hopkins missed a lot of that game. He didn't play for a big stretch.
Up. Yeah, and it's too bad because he started off so wonderfully. 2 catches for 66 yards. And then he, AJ Green kind of became the main target. And Zach Ertz, I know we're kind of jumping around, but Zach Ertz too, he didn't have a huge game, 4 for 42, but at the same time, they went to him on a 4th down. They already have trust in him, or Kyler does at least. So that makes me believe that he will be a viable option for tight end. He's going to be maybe a back end tight end 1, with as weak as tight end is going right now. But I do think that you can throw his name in there now.
Yeah, he's going to be involved. And I mean, this game, I just wouldn't take too much from this game for Arizona. It happens. They got their first loss. They're 7-1. Just not much offense today. But it's just.
Yeah, and you look at what they did, and I mean, they only lost by 3. They could have easily pulled this one out. They are a very, very dangerous team, and that's why I give Green Bay so much credit, because I feel like they didn't have as many weapons, and their game plan just worked. And Aaron Rodgers just happens to be. I mean, he's just one of the best around.
7-1 now for the Packers as well, so they just keep rolling, and that opening game against the Saints just seems. What is that, 38-3, that first game? Like, that just seems unreal.
Yeah. I mean, we were both very, very confused at what was going on there. It was just out of the ordinary. And
7 straight since.
So,
that was nothing there, I guess. But all right, there we go. Packers, Cardinals, good ending. Fun game to watch at the end there. But the offense performances could have been a little better, but hey, still good. Football, it's always good. It's good to watch.
Well, James Conner, because of the lack of carries he's getting, even though he is production crazy for touchdowns. How do you view him? Because right now he seems to be maybe a gold mine, but it might be fool's gold. How do you look at him moving forward? Real deal or no?
You know what? I think it's kind of real. Not volume wise, but this offense, obviously, even today wasn't great, but they get there. They get to the goal line. And then when they get there, they use James Conner. So I think they're going to be there a lot. And you know what? That's actually one thing that probably we don't talk about much. That's taking away Kyler's possible touchdowns. Kyler doesn't scramble around the goal line anymore and score like he's done in the past. They just give the ball to James Conner. So that's taken away from Kyler. But I think it's going to keep going. As long as this offense is working, which it will. James Conner is going to get opportunities, and I think there'll be more volume than normal. It was weird because he started out with not getting the ball at all in this one, so I don't know what the deal was there. But then Chase Edmonds only had 7 too, so it wasn't like it was just a Chase Edmonds show. But
and Chase Edmonds did have a rushing touchdown as well.
Yeah,
so
I think it's not like you put James Conner in your lineup and feel really great about it, but hey, it gives you a shot if, you know.
Right,
I'm
right.
going against James Conner this week, of course, right? 2
Yeah, of
touchdowns.
course.
Only 22 yards, but 2 touchdowns.
Like all stat of old, just
Right.
just that touchdown vulture.
Yeah. But all right, there we go. We'll be back Sunday night, talk about week 8 around the NFL. Talk to you guys then.